Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation. No, that is not fake. Those mom and daughter lost 140 pounds and they've kept it off now for 2.5 years. So for all the censors out there, I want to just explain to you all, as I always do, that we stay within community guidelines. We make no claims that are not backed by medical proof. We have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies right here. They're in the public domain, proving that what they did is completely safe. It's backed by medical proof. We've also written 4 best-selling books with medical doctors, and it's our own research. Nothing is fabricated, nothing is copied, nothing is hijacked, as they say. So let's just cover that. Hello, Jackie, Margaret, Marlene. Yes, that is absolutely real. Though that's a mom and daughter. The daughter's 57, the mom's 80. The daughter lost 56 pounds. The mom lost 91 pounds. She lost it in about 8 or 9 months, and they've kept it off now for 2.5 years. That's the cover of Women's World magazine, the #1 magazine in the world for women. This is unbelievable. What do you think about that, everybody? So look at that. And yeah, and I did actually coach them. I was the coach that coached them on this new protocol. Let me show you a couple of other pictures, but what do you all think about that? Just Be Gone, Margaret, Phoebus, Cass, Pizza Queen, etc. Think this is fake? It's not. It's absolutely real. I coached these 2 women. They lost a combined 140 pounds. The daughter, like I said, about 56, 57 pounds. The mom lost 91 pounds. And they've kept it off now for 2.5 years. The mom on the right, she was 9 months ago, could barely climb up a flight of stairs. Now she's playing pickleball 3 times a week. She's swimming 3 times a week and working 4 miles a day. I'll show you some of the other before and afters. Now, here's the one thing I want to tell you about this. This is backed by 10, what they did is backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. You'll notice right above their head there in blue, it says the New Health Conversation. That's the free medical website where you can go and learn exactly what they did, how they did it, etc. If you go there, we won't contact you. It's free to go there. It's free access. But right above, you'll notice free coaching. Now, you're not going to get coached by me, but we have lots and lots of other coaches that will coach you for free because they all got coached. I got coached, etc. But everybody, I just want you to look at that. Imagine the lady on the right, her name is Linda, in the blue. She's 80 years old and lost 91 pounds in a little over 8 months and has kept it off for 2.5 years. How's that sound to all of you? This is real. This is what's available to all of you. Hello, Marquis. Hello, Demir, Rosary, Beho, Treasure, Trust Gold, User 101. So I'd like some comments. If anybody wants to put in the comment, do you think that's real? You think it's fake? No, they actually lost that kind of weight. I mean, it's absolutely crazy to think that something like this. And like I said, the nurse on the left, her name is Cindy. She's a nurse, and she now weighs less than she did in high school, losing over, I think she lost 55 pounds, something like that. I know the mom lost 91 pounds. Cindy lost it in a few months, her mom, because she's older. It took her, I think, 9 months, but still, to lose, that's 10 pounds a month for 9 months, and they've kept it off for 2.5 years. Now let's look at some other pictures, okay? Here's the kind of things that are happening with this. Look at this, everyone. How about 21 pounds, 38 inches in just 30 days? And by the way, no one was allowed to exercise, either Linda and her mom or this picture here. It's not Photoshop. And look at her inches, 38.75 inches. That's in 30 days. Look at her hips, look at her stomach, etc. How many of you are struggling to lose even a pound a week on a crazy diet? Diets as per this podcast, any diet you're on is silly, it's over, it's finished. Calories in, calories out is just, it's been demolished in major studies, which I'm going to share with you today. Also, I'm going to tell you Yazzie in 1 second. So this is what we're going to talk about, but it's backed, Yazzie, by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. So let me explain to you, all of you, what did they do? Let's go back to the first picture real quickly. So this mother, Yazzie, this mom and daughter, they lost a total of 140 pounds. The daughter, 56 pounds or thereabouts in about 3 months, I think it was. The mom lost 91 pounds in about 8 months, and they both kept it off for 2.5 years. So let's come back to Kristen. Okay, what did they do? This was invented by the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world, not by me, okay? And what these researchers did, they'd done 40 years of research, 100 studied thousands of people, and figured out here's why all your diets fail. A diet has nothing to do with counting calories. A diet only has to do with the fact that when you go on a diet, you reduce the amount of food you're consuming. I don't care what the name of the diet is, and then you reduce nutrition. When that happens, the brain figures out there's not enough nutrition. It goes in starvation mode and begins to turn your muscles into fuel, slowing down your metabolism. That's why you plateau in these diets. And then well, all of a sudden you start to slow down your weight loss, and then it stops, and then you plateau, and then you come off the diet and you gain everything back. But the other thing it's doing to you by losing lean muscle, it also slows down your own metabolism. So those two things are not good. Well, in this particular case, what they figured out was, in order to make this work, would it be possible to give people less food, but find foods with really high levels of nutrition? This has never been tried before. So they developed a grocery list for her and everybody else that did this. And that grocery list was comprised of fats, carbs, proteins, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie counts, they gave her serving sizes. But only 30% of what you would buy in a month or you'd buy from your grocery store. Got it? 30%. The other 70% came from these, what I call exotic foods from around the world, that the researchers, they didn't find them, they don't sell them. These researchers that created, they don't have there's no product here, everyone. This is food. I want you all to understand that we're not talking about a product. We're talking about new foods and eating in completely different ways, never done before, to produce this kind of a result. So in a month, in a month, 30% of what she ate came from the grocery store. The other 70% from these exotic foods around the world. And those foods came from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. Why was that important? Because they had huge amounts of nutrition, but they had low levels, quantity of food. So it wasn't about the quantity, it was about what was in the food, okay? So 30% of what she consumed, you'd get a grocery list, you'd go shopping at your grocery store. The other 70% came from these foods around the world, and then she ate in a very specific new way. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast, lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. That was called protein pacing. So again, 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, okay? 2 meals with regular food and 2 meals with these exotic foods around the world. Then 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. In this case, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods, but this time they let her eat 8 times a day. Now, if any of you are diabetics, don't freak out. When they measured in the diabetics in just the first 30 days by doing this protocol, their insulin came down by 41% in a month. 41%. That wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. Then people's blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. And for the first time in history ever, they measured inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there, according to the medical world, and it came down 25% in a month. Now, let me be very clear. We're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical proclamations whatsoever. But we are sharing with you exactly what they found in these peer-reviewed human trial studies, that no other influence is showing you any peer-reviewed human trial studies at all. And this picture is about 8 years ago. They've all kept the weight off now for 8 years. I lost 40 pounds on this 40 pounds in 7 weeks. 23 years ago, I've kept it off for 23 years. So you can see that this is really pretty amazing in terms of that. Let me show you a couple more pictures that are even as dramatic or more dramatic than that. Let's see, here's Julie. That's 35 pounds in 37 days. Just look at her body. It looks like a different woman. It looks like we switched pictures. We didn't touch anything. It's not photoshopped. It's not AI. That's the actual result. So I'd love to hear from any of you. Can we get some taps on the screen? If you like this content, please tap on the screen and show me that you appreciate this content, which is, I've been a nutrition researcher for 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books. I've had 20 shows on PBS and 1,500 live lectures around the world. And we put this website together for all of you to make you aware. If you go to the website, let me show you the website again where you can go to. It's absolutely free to go there. You can see it above their heads. By the way, these two, it just was on the cover of Women's World magazine, this amazing story about the daughter on the left who lost 56 pounds in about 3 months. The mom on the right lost 91 pounds in 8 months. That was 2.5 years. They both kept the weight off for 2.5 years. To be on the cover of Women's World, the #1 women's magazine in the world, obviously they vetted this and made sure that it was, correct, etc. So we're very proud of them. And I did coach them, okay? I did. I actually know them. But you notice right above their head there in blue, it says the New Health Conversation. That's a free medical website for any of you to go to. I'd love for you to comment on that. Imagine the daughter's, I think she's 56 or 57, a nurse over 50 pounds in about 3 months. The mom lost 91 pounds in about 8, 9 months and has kept it off now. But the mom, at 80 years old, 9 months ago, barely could make it up a flight of stairs. Now she's playing pickleball 3 times a week, swimming 3 times a week, and walking 4 miles a day. How would some of you like to do that? But imagine that 140 pounds between the two of them, and they're both, well, a little bit older. Let's just say that, okay? Now let's come back down. I want to show you a couple more pictures here. This is the daughter. This is the daughter of a really good friend of mine. And when you see this, you'll think it's a different woman. Look at that, everyone. How about 60 pounds in 3 months? 60. Now, before you say, oh my God, it's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast on a diet. Well, number one, on a diet, that would never happen. Let's just start with that. You all know that on a diet, you're anticipating maybe a pound a week, right? You're excited. You're going to lose 20 pounds. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm losing a pound a week. Well, she averaged 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her. Now, you could think it's Photoshopped. It's not. I know her. And that picture's about 8 years old, and she's kept that weight off now for more than 8 years. I mean, what more can I say than that, right? So MJ, let's see, R1 1963, KL, Darling, Mia, E for Life, Mana, User 201, Anna, Ace, Anita. Lots of people coming. Oh, can we get some more likes? Can we get some more taps on your phone? We're only at 109 now. We're not even 110. I've been on for 11 minutes. Let's really light this thing up and get more people. But I'd love for anybody to make a comment. What do you think about that picture? Do you think it's the same woman? Do you think we photoshopped? Do you think we're lying to you? Do you think it's real? Well, not only is it real, but again, you have to. I want to point out there are 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies for the first time in history. There is no other protocol, weight loss, diet, whatever you want to call it, in the world with 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Never been done before. And this was invented by the top, oh, Sasha, I want to try this. Everybody does. The bigger the deficit, the bigger the drop. Not rocket science. What's your fail to success rate? Well, let me answer that for you, Mana. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. A very, very high percentage. Well, here's another one. Here's the cover. This was just out on the cover of Women's World magazine. The one on the left, she lost over 50 pounds. The mom lost 91 pounds. That's the picture. I'm sorry, they've kept it off for 2.5 years. This is not a diet. See, what people want to do, with all due respect, you want to try to compare this to diets and calorie counting and all the things. No one's ever seen anything like this. Let's look at this, everybody, okay? How about that? 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. And look at his blood work, his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. You think any diet on planet Earth does that? Never, ever, ever. And these researchers who created this, they've done 40 years of studies, 100 studies, thousands of people. They've run these numbers. They've never seen numbers like this before. This is not a diet. It's like nothing anybody's ever done before. So Sasha, I'm going to explain it to her. Okay, everybody, I'm going to put it, Sasha, let me show you something, Sasha. Do you see right above their head, give me a yes, the New Health Conversation. Then I'm going to explain to everybody how in the world they did this, right? But just give me a yes that you can see that in blue, the New Health Conversation. Now, Sasha and everybody else, you go to there. We will not contact you. It's a free medical website. The only thing that's on there, is the medical proof. There's nothing else. So let's talk about how in the world did April do this, okay? Or well, look at this one, everybody. Let's just stick on this. How about 5 pounds a week? How about 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month? Okay, here's what they did. And here's why diets can't possibly work. A diet is nothing but total hot air nonsense. Counting calories is a complete myth. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'll challenge all of you. Please, anybody, put in the chat, what is a calorie? Give me the scientific definition. I'll wait. I mean, we'll come back to it, okay? You're counting calories. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Why you're counting calories is insanity, okay? So the researchers knew this. They'd done 40 years of research on calories in, calories out, on every diet you could name. People always lost weight initially, but 2/3 of people ended up gaining more weight than they lost on any of these diets, okay? So what they said was, wait a minute, we got to change things. And all a diet is reducing the quantity of food you're consuming. And what are you reducing at the same time? Nutrition. Now, the problem with that is when you drop below a certain amount of nutrition, it triggers the starvation mode in the brain. The brain shuts down your access to the fuel inside your fat cells and turns to your muscles for fuel, and that slows down your metabolism. That's why you plateau on these diets. That's why you come off the diet, you gain everything back. This is a scientific fact. It's not and I'll show you the medical reasons for that in a moment, okay? Nothing is my opinion, okay? So what the researchers said was, can we find foods? There's no products here. These are foods that have high, high degrees of nutrition in smaller quantities of food. So what they did, they put together a food list for her and everybody else. 30% of what she consumed came from the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie counts, they gave her serving sizes, and they picked these nutrient-dense foods. These are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. Not me. This is not my protocol, right? But the other 70%, again, not from the researchers, not from us, you would buy directly from the suppliers who for 20 years, those suppliers had gone around the world to find foods in faraway places with huge amounts of nutrition in places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represented huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. So what did she eat in a month? 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods. But then there was very new specific ways of eating. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. You heard me. Starting with these exotic foods that was breakfast, those foods. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal from these foods around the world. So she had 2 what you would call normal meals a day, lunch and dinner, but she had 2 additional meals. Well, breakfast was these exotic foods around the world, and then a 4th meal, whatever you want to call it, from these exotic foods. 5 days a week, 4 meals, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, Sasha and everybody else. Now, don't get scared. It's not fasting. It's not water fasting. It's not time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these foods from around the world. But this time, she ate 8 times a day. She was having something every hour and a half. Now, if there's diabetics on here, don't freak out. The diabetics on this, their insulin came down 41% in 30 days. People's hunger came down more than 40% in a month. In 2 weeks, people's cravings all went away. Because you've got to understand, for the first time ever, this was only based on the amount of nutrition. It had nothing to do with the quantity of food. And it certainly had nothing to do with calorie counting, because the human body doesn't even know what a calorie is. But look at the results, everybody. Look at that. Wow. Good. Who else would like to? No one is lying to you. Listen to your doctors. No one is lying to you. Listen to your doctors. How do I? First aid, I'm not quite sure. What do you mean? No one is lying to you. Listen to your doctors. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you could clarify, that'd be great. Because again, you have to, I hope you understand that when we're talking about peer-reviewed human trial studies, your doctor would embrace this, because that's what they're looking for. That's why they don't want to put them on diets that don't have any medical background whatsoever. You cannot show me a diet that has 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. This doesn't exist. Now let's talk about the real medical evidence of how how futile diets really are by counting calories. Okay, let's start talk about big time. Let's start with Harvard Medical School. Okay, this is a Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. They went on to say at Harvard, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Talk about doctors. This is the top obesity experts in the world saying they were wrong. Counting calories is dead. They said that counting calories in, calories out is not just antiquated, it's wrong. Why? Because it's making you unhealthy, whether you know it or not. I'll give you more evidence here in just a moment. Now let's look at another huge study. It's called The Science Behind Why Diets Don't Work. In this study, they said our researchers reviewed more than 30 long-term studies of calories in, calories out, and they showed that going on a diet actually causes weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for long-term weight loss, but it's associated with increased risk of binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. These are medical studies. These are not opinions. I know people always want to argue with me and whatever and think I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, somehow I've been a nutrition researcher for 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books with major medical doctors. I did 20 shows on PBS. I did 1,500 live lectures around the world. I've been at universities and medical schools. They even flew me to China. But for 22 of my 23 years in the medical world with doctors, that meant 0. Why? No peer-reviewed human trial studies. So in terms of listening to your doctor, of course, that's a great strategy. And the reason the doctors are embracing this now, one after another, is because this is the only protocol in the world with 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. This is going to change everything. And you're all going to go, I know what's going to happen. Most of you are going to go back to paleo, keto, Mediterranean, into these silly diets. You're going to lose weight initially, and then 2/3 you're going to end up weighing more than you did when you started. That's the sad reality. Okay, what are some of the foods around the world? Okay, I'm going to go over the... Okay, so RD Runner wants to know, and so let's go over it again. Okay, how in the world did she do that? I'd love some comments from some. Again, first aid, I'm still confused about no one is lying to you. Listen to your doctors. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but that's okay. So how did she do that, or how, more importantly, this is the daughter of a friend of mine, how'd she lose 60 pounds in 3 months? You're going to try and tell me, anybody in a comment, you've got a diet that has ever done anything like that, and look at the change in her body composition, her face, her arms, her stomach. Okay, so let's come back to Kristen and talk about this again. The fallacy of diets is that the human body has no idea what a calorie is. I'm still waiting for someone. No, it's not fasting. Absolutely not fasting. It's intermittent. Listen to me. Intermittent nutritional fasting. You're fasting with food. I'll explain it to you in a moment, I promise, okay? Now, the researchers who created this, not me, okay, they've been voted the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world for over 40 years. They've done over 100 studies, thousands of people. They invented this. They don't have any products. There's no product to buy. This is based on food and 2 new ways of consuming the food. So let's talk about it. First of all, the food, they gave her 30%, or you or anybody doing this, they give you a grocery list, but only 30% of what you buy at your grocery store would be proteins, carbs, fats, vegetables, and fruit. And instead of giving you calorie counts, they gave serving sizes, but only 30%. And there's a reason for that, and that's because our food in North America is all but nutritionally bankrupt, in case you didn't know, even if you eat organic and even if you eat whole foods, okay? So the other 70% that these people all took came from other researchers who for over 20 years had gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find these foods with huge amounts of nutrition. It wasn't always things you chewed, by the way. Some of these were nutrients. A lot of these native cultures, they make it as a tea, or they drink it as water, mix it with water, etc. Okay, so someone's asking me, what are the foods? Well, there are things like, if you probably aren't familiar with the term trace ionic minerals. Trace ionic minerals are not iron, calcium, magnesium. They're things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum. We need 70. In the best organic food you get in this country, you get 20 out of 70 minerals. The researchers found a source that had all 70 minerals. What else do we need? We need vitamins, but we don't need vitamins from the grocery store or synthetic, right? They found, again, some of these foods had 21 naturally occurring vitamins, 100% natural as part of the ingredients in these food groups, okay? Another thing that we all need is obviously fiber. Okay, some of these food sources had high levels, not of probiotics, not that there's anything wrong with that, but prebiotic fiber. Now, prebiotic fiber makes more good gut flora. Now, let me back that up and show you what happened. So this study right here, published in Nature Communications on this protocol, Had nothing to do with weight loss. Let me read the title of the study. Gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improves drastically with protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. It had nothing to do with the weight loss. It had everything to do with the tremendous improvement in the health of the gut. Again, partly because these foods contain these high levels of prebiotic fiber, not probiotics, okay? And then there were things like, let me explain this to you. So two of the ingredients, one came from Mongolia and one came from Tibet and the Himalayas. Those nutrients lowered stress in the body and measured, even cortisol came down, of course. But here was the big one. Inflammation. The underlying cause of every disease out there came down 25% in 30 days. No one's ever seen anything like this, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical proclamations. But if you understand about inflammation, it's the underlying cause of every single disease out there. No diet even comes close to this. It's like a joke. Now, let me show you some more evidence about, again, why counting calories. Not my opinion. We'll come back to this in a moment. The title, Why You Shouldn't Count Calories. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count and restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. And they went on to say counting calories increases chronic psychological stress and cortisol production, two factors that are known to cause weight gain. Now, so again, let me go over it. So 30% of what you would consume comes from the grocery store, has nothing to do with calories, has to do with nutritional density, right? The other 70% from these foods around the world. Then, how did they consume? What was different about what they did? Well, 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day, starting with these exotic foods around the world, lunch from the grocery store, which you'd consider normal food, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, these nutrients from around the world. She did that 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing, which is actually patented. 2 days a week, she did something called, now that's what someone's saying about fasting. No, hear me clearly. She did intermittent nutritional fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, but she get to eat 8 times a day from these exotic foods from around the world. So she was having something every hour and a half. She was literally fasting with nutrition because she was consuming tiny amounts, quantity of, chewables. But it was the nutrition that made all the difference in the world. Look at her result. Come on, everybody. 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month, and no exercise allowed. And she's kept it off for 8 years. You think any diet can touch this? And then if we look at Julie, hold on, everybody. Julie. How about that? 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body. You think any diet does that? Diets are a joke compared to this. Diets are finished. They're obsolete. They're over. They're done. Not because I say so, because all the medical research. Now, this is the capper on diets, everyone. Medicare. You've all heard of Medicare, right? Huge study. Here's the title of their study, just came out. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. This is Medicare saying that. They went on to say, our research has reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting by counting calories is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any of these calorie-restricted diets. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. What in the world are you all doing? Counting calories, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, Cornish zone, counting carbs, macros, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, nutrition. Do you understand we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic? Does that sound to you like diets are working? What are you doing, everybody? Why? Wouldn't you want that with no exercise? And then, man, wait till you see this. Now you're going to think it's Photoshopped. He lost almost 41 pounds in a month and 52 inches. Least important part of his story. Look at his lab work, everybody. Look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides, 242 to 124 in 30 days, not 30 weeks. You all know you get all excited about a pound a week. He lost almost 11 pounds a week. It's an older guy. Look at his stomach. He's not holding that in. You think there's anything like this? What does she feel is 2 days? If not, I just explained it to you, Jewel. So how? Well, that's amazing. Okay, let's see. No, and we said fasting. But you're not giving it. What do you mean I'm not giving us? I just joined in, so explain. Okay, I'm going to explain again. So, with all due respect, real estate diva 30, you didn't hear the explanation. Let me go back to Kristen. Okay, so here's what I want you all to understand. 30% of what she consumed was a food list developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world who invented this protocol, which was a combination of foods and a new way of consuming food. Nothing to do with fasting, any of that nonsense. So let's go over what did she do, because there's a lot of questions. I got it. I'm with you. Just bear with me. It takes a couple minutes to explain it. So these researchers, not me, developed this food list: proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits, that were not based on the amount of calories. It was based on the amount of nutrition in these food groups that they picked out for people to consume. You would literally get a grocery list of those foods, okay? The other 70%, someone's asking what foods was she eating on the 2 days when she was doing intermittent nutritional fasting. No food at all from the grocery store, nothing, zero. Only these foods from around the world that these other researchers had spent 20 years going to these remote areas of the world in places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represented huge amounts of nutrition in very small quantities of food. So on the days when she was doing what's called intermittent nutritional fasting, no food from a grocery store, only these foods from around the world. Now, so then they had to invent how were they going to consume this new model. Okay, so 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. Let me go slowly. Breakfast from these exotic foods from around the world with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts in terms of quantity. See, quantity doesn't mean a damn thing to your body. Your body doesn't care about that. Do I have enough nutrition? That's what the body cares about, right? So breakfast from these exotic foods around the world, lunch from the grocery list, dinner from the grocery list, in other words, what you would consider normal food, and then a fourth meal from these exotic foods around the world. So got it? 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing, which these are the top rated, the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 40 years. That's not me. I didn't invent this. We're just sharing with you what did they do, right? So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did, again, intermittent nutritional fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, they let her eat 8 times a day. Did you hear me? 8 times a day. So she was eating something every hour and a half. Look at the results, everybody. That's not photoshopped. As a matter of fact, everybody had to wear Fitbits, proving that they didn't exercise. I mean, okay, but what are the exotic foods? The exotic foods, look, here's a different definition. Part of what she consumed, you would think of chewing, eating, right? When I talk about exotic foods, I'm talking about the nutrients in those, things like 70 trace ionic minerals, things like prebiotic fiber, not probiotics, but prebiotic, which makes more good gut flora for yourself. 70 trace ionic minerals. Those are the nutrients. It's not like, okay, the other 70% of food was more kale or more spinach or more carrots, or no, it didn't work like that. They brought back nutrients that people living to be 100 years old take. And so a majority of those are in liquid form because that's how they consumed it. All right? But 30%, I'd say more than 30% of what you're going to consume, you'd be chewing. So don't get hung up on a food like, oh, how much kale do they have? Oh, how much spinach do they have? Didn't work like that. It was based on the nutritional value of the nutrients that they were consuming. Like 2 of the ingredients that are non-chewable that you make in water, one comes from Mongolia in Russia, and the other one from Tibet in the Himalayas. And look, they have the proof in the studies that inflammation came down 25% in 30 days. You don't get that chewing kale or spinach or carrots or beef or whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. It's completely different than anything you've ever done before. You're trying to put it in a category. With all due respect, you can't there's never been anything like this. It took the researchers 40 years to figure this out. I know it sounds too good. But look at the result. Do you want that result or not? Do you want to go on a stupid diet, lose a pound a week, and 2/3 you're going to weigh more than when you started? Not my opinion. What are we doing here, everybody? What are we doing? The definition of insanity is the same thing over and over. So you went on paleo, you lost weight, and you gained it all back. You said that diet didn't work. Now try a new diet. Same thing happens. My God, in 1964, 15% of America was overweight. Now we're at 80% overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does that sound to any of you like any of these crazy diets work? They don't work. This does. And it's backed, my God, by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. What the hell diet are you on? It doesn't have any medical background behind it at all. These influencers, they're giving you opinions. They don't have any science. They're nice people. I see them, medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists. Yak, yak, yak. Calories in, calories out. It doesn't work. Do you all get that? It doesn't work. This is going to change people's lives. This is going to make every diet you've ever been on obsolete. Now let's go to some more proof. Let's take a look. This is a major study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It was 12 months long, where they looked at pretty much every diet out there and compared the results in 12 months. The title, Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs in Overweight and Obese Adults. They looked at 48 different trials, 7,286 people. And they named all the diets: paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, Cornish, zone, count your carb, whatever it was. And when they analyzed after 12 months, the most amount of weight loss on any diet to the least amount of weight loss in a year was 10 ounces. That's how ineffective these things are. And the people in a year only lost 16 pounds, and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. My God, she lost 21 pounds in a month. What are you all doing? Why? You're going to lose weight on any of these diets initially, and then you all know it slows down. Then all of a sudden you're at a plateau, and then you just give up, quit, and then you look for a new diet. Oh, I think I'll do the shot. I'm not against the shot, but let's look at the real results of the shot. Here's, you all can look this up, the New England Journal of Medicine, okay? Considered the one or two big top medical journals in the world. They did a 68-week study on semaglutide, a year and 4 months, okay? A year and 4 months. Right in the study, the weight loss after 68 weeks was 32 pounds, and of the 32 pounds, 40% was lean muscle mass. We're not against the shots. They're helping diabetics and people with morbid, but 32 pounds in 68 weeks versus, well, how about Curtis? He didn't get the memo. He lost 40 pounds in a month. In a month. What? And 52 inches. And look at his blood work, everybody. That's the thing. This isn't about losing the weight. That's a given. That's a throw. Do you know what the key to this is? And you know what it's called? R2M. You know what it stands for? Race to maintenance. Look at his stomach. That picture's 8 years old. He's kept the weight off for 8 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. What are all you doing? What are you lying about? He's charging for the list. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, I hate it when people do that, when they just make up stuff. He's charging you for the list. You damn fool. The coaching's 100% free. Look at the first. What the hell is wrong with people? You see that? Free coaching. So don't make up things. Even if I was charging you, you're gonna lose 5 pounds a week on any stupid diet. What are people? What is wrong with someone saying something like that? You have no proof of anything. Where's your medical proof about the crap you're doing? I mean, it's just crazy. Jewel, oh my God, going in circles? How am I going in circles? Is this circles? Well, then go on your diet and lose a pound a week. Go for it. You don't have to be on this podcast. You don't want medical science? Go somewhere else. It's fine. You don't have to be here. Well, again, Laura, let me just say this. I'm too fast and too complicated. Well, then go on a diet, lose a pound a week, and gain it all back, and you're going to realize. Why did I go too fast? Let me give you the short version. The researchers developed a program where you could eat less food with more nutrition and created 2 new ways of consuming the food. Is that simpler for you to understand? 30% of the food comes from the grocery store, fats, carbs, proteins that they gave a list to you of the serving sizes, not calories. The other 70% comes from 5 foods, more than 5 foods, from foods around the world. And then 5 days a week, you'd have 4 meals a day. You'd have the exotic foods around the world for breakfast. You'd have lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal. And the reason I go fast is because everybody has such a short attention span. This is based on real science, okay? This is based on 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Put in the chat any of your diets that you're on paleo. Show me their medical. They don't have any medical proof. And the medical proof on diets is so miserable, you'd have to be crazy to think that a diet works in the long run. When you have Medicare, let me go slowly. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. They went on to say, this is Medicare's study. Our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any of these diets. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits until now. She lost that weight 8 years ago. Are you trying to tell me you're not interested in this, everyone? You want to go on a diet which is doomed to failure when Medicare is telling you 2/3 of you are going to weigh more than when you started? You're hanging on to things that are obsolete. You're hanging on to things that are now been proven. They made a huge mistake telling us to count calories. I'm sorry I get so passionate about this. But when you've got things like that, or this is the daughter of a friend of mine, 60 pounds in 3 months, 60? You show me any diet that any of you have ever been on that ever produced anything like that. Look at her face, look at her arms, etc. Okay, Laura, I'll start all over again. Where do we get some more information? Oh dear, what is your opinion on ground provision? Is good for eating? I don't know what ground provision is, but how do we do this program? I'm interested, please tell us. Okay, so I appreciate the feedback. If I'm going too fast, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to walk you through step by step. Does that sound good? So let's just go back and look at Kristen. So here's what happened. The researchers who created this, not me, not my team of people. We're the researchers of the researchers. Now, I'm not trying to impress you. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I wrote 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I appeared 20 times on PBS. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 live lectures around the world. And to be totally transparent, for 22 of my 23 years in the medical world, all those results meant 0. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial studies. So these researchers who came up with this, after 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people figured out, here's why diets don't work. First of all, I'd love anybody to put in for me, these will be sweet potatoes, cassava. Yeah, you actually can have sweet potatoes on this, Susie, believe it or not. Link is in his bio. Okay, so what they did, or what the researchers figured out, was the problem with any diet was that it was focusing on the wrong thing, counting calories. Again, I'd love for anybody to put the definition in the chat of what's a calorie. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you to. The only thing your body knows, it has no idea what a calorie is. It only cares about nutrition. And that's what the researchers focused on. They said, okay, our first goal, can we give the body more than enough nutrition to meet the minimum needs to run all the organs? So you have a minimum, a floor of nutrition that you need in order to run your brain, your heart, your kidney, your liver, your pancreas. Got that? Tell me if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to go very slow, okay? So what the researchers did, they're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. So first they said, all right, if we're going to use food from North America, we're going to limit it to only 30% of what she would consume. Let's call those mostly chewables, things like proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, okay? Let's call those chewables. But only 30% of what she consumed, or any of these people consumed, or what you'd consume. So you actually get a grocery list. Someone's accusing me we charge you for the grocery list. That's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. It's free coaching. So if you go to the site, the coaches, they'll show you the grocery list, okay? And actually you get, this is what the researchers created. It's called the Blueprint of Success. This was by the scientists. And those yellows are all free daily videos showing you exactly what to do. You don't buy anything from the researchers. You don't buy anything from us. So I find this very offensive when people make up things like that. Okay, so grocery list. You get the grocery list because you have to eat, don't you? All right? And you don't know, it's not just that they're giving you the ingredients, they're giving you the serving sizes as opposed to calories. Everybody got that? So 30% of what you would consume comes from the grocery store. The other 70% come from these exotic foods from around the world that the researchers didn't find or sell. We don't sell them. You buy directly from those suppliers who'd gone to Russia, to Mongolia, to Tibet, to South America, New Zealand to find nutrients. That's a better way to think about it. That simply are in way little amounts in North American food, or they don't exist at all. Okay? So these nutrients that came from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand made up what 70% of what she consumed in a month. Now, how did they do it? 5 days a week, 5 days, you would have 4 meals a day. You start with these exotic foods, the nutrients from around the world, okay? Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner, these nutrients, okay? That's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. That's called intermittent nutritional fasting, okay? Then 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting. Nothing to do with counting calories. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these nutrients from around the world. But this time, you'd eat 8 times a day. They call them nutrient-dense feedings. That's what the researchers call it. So every hour and a half, she was eating. Not only, look, those are the results you can see visibly, but inside her body, what did they find? They found that people's blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. For the first time ever, people's hunger, excuse me, came down 41% in 30 days. Because again, the body didn't care about the calories. It cared about how much nutrition, right? So that's what determines your hunger. It's not about calories. It's about how much nutrition you can give your body. If you give your body enough nutrition, you're not hungry, you're full, you stop eating, everything's great. But because our food is so nutritionally bankrupt in this country, that's why it's so hard for people to, limit the amount of food that they're eating, because the body's going, give me more, but not more calories, more nutrition. I know it sounds too simple, but it took 40 years for them to figure it out. And that picture was 8 or 9, and she didn't exercise. None of these pictures did anybody exercise. And the key to this is maintenance. That's why it's called R2M. Oh, I didn't name it that. They did. R2M, race to maintenance. Because the key is to teach you, it's not a question we can get the weight off you rapidly, but can you keep it off for the rest of your life? That's the downside on all these diets that you go on. No one's arguing. You can lose weight on the Dunkin' Donut diet. I'm not kidding you. But what kind of weight are you losing? You all know that. You all know you've yo-yoed, and people that want to push back against me, you're trying to compare this to a diet. It's not a diet. It's, you know what it really is? A detox. Now let me show you that part of it, as I'm going slow, okay? There's a new medical syndrome. It's called TDOS. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. T for toxicity, D for nutritional deficiency, O for being overweight, and S is for stress. Yeah, I did discover it. But it's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of a new medical condition. What does it mean? It means that we're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals. What kind of chemicals? Well, herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and flame retardants in our bodies. Did you all see the thing a month ago? They're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Well, we've known. So anyway, the researchers who created this did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this was assisting your body in removing the chemicals. That's the real reason to do this. That's why did she shrink? Because what the body's doing to protect us as we ingest through water, air, food, these chemicals, the body first presents those chemicals to the liver. Well, our livers are overwhelmed. They estimate now, Dr. James Lustig at Stanford University in California estimates 35% of America has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which doesn't really present any symptoms until it's too late. 35%. Because our livers are so overwhelmed trying to process all these chemicals. Well, once the liver can't handle it anymore, then the chemicals that come in, the body has one last chance. It takes the chemical and stuffs it in your visceral fat. That's the fat around your organs. You can see on day one, look at her stomach. You can see it. That's the storage of those chemicals. And see, don't let anybody tell you burn fat cells. If they're telling you that, they're lying. You're born with a number of fat cells. You die with, go Google it. Go Google it. I don't make things up, okay? Whether you don't like my style, I'm too dramatic, it doesn't matter. The science doesn't give a damn. The science is the science, okay? And so what happens is, as this allows your body to remove the chemicals from your body, the fat cells shrink. So when you look from day 1 to day 30, there's your evidence of those fat cells shrinking. She didn't reduce any fat. She didn't lose a fat cell. And also when they measured, she lost no water weight in 30 days, and she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise whatsoever. The same thing when you look at someone like Julie, it's even more dramatic. Look at how much she shrank, and that's 37 days. 37 days. And then you look at someone like Curtis, an older gentleman. I mean, it's almost hard to believe that look, he lost almost 41 pounds in a month and 52.5 inches. But look at his blood work, everybody. You think we faked that? I guess you could. We didn't fake nothing. A1C 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. So now who has questions? The people making our food industry know that because they did this. Of course, RD, you're exactly right. Okay, RD, all right, sorry. And I apologize to everybody for me getting so animated and upset, I guess, because I lost my own mother to obesity. My mother called me up 24 years ago and said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish. My mom was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. I loved her. I lived through fat shaming. It really hurt me. I'd see her cry. You know, we'd be in the grocery store and kids would be whispering. So her wish 24 years ago to me was, Peter, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's great. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom did about every kind of damn diet was out there. And I say damn diet. I hate diets for this reason. She was so compliant. She did the grapefruit diet. She did the cabbage soup diet. She did, Weight Watchers. She did, Optifit. She did all these things. And she'd cut diets out of the National Enquirer. Hell, I'd see her go to Weight Watchers. In a whole week, she'd lose 4 ounces and she'd come back with a star and be really excited. Yeah, so I'm sorry to tell you, I hate diets. But now there's the medical proof. They don't work. They don't work long term. Not my opinion. Again, let me go back to Medicare. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's Medicare saying that. That's not me. Don't you at least have a right to know what you're doing is going to cause this? The Medicare researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether calories in, calories out is an effective treatment for obesity. The researchers found that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any of these diets. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. So are you going to give me an opinion? The medical science is overwhelming. Harvard Medical School, nutrients, all these major studies now saying calorie counting is dead. I read to you early from Harvard, title, Stop Counting Calories. They went on to say most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500, you lose a pound. But as it turned out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They went on to say the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did, and they have nothing to do with Harvard. That's how he did this. It wasn't about calories. It was about nutritional density. And the researchers figured out the exact combinations. So he had, had enough nutrition. But the amount of food he was consuming was way less than what you would normally consume. Because, see, we're consuming so much food because it's so lacking in nutrition. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you understand? That's what's going on. And I know people really get mad at me and upset and they jump off. But the sad reality is that even worse, this is Johns Hopkins Medical School study. Here's what you're up against, okay? Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. We estimate 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. Those aren't my numbers, everybody. You can get mad at me, think that I'm too animated, whatever it is. All I'm telling you is the science doesn't give a damn about me. It doesn't care about my glasses or my tie or me. Somebody has to be the adult in the room and say, wait a minute, what are we doing? Do we just pretend like it's not happening? That in 1964, 15% of America was overweight and obese? And now, 60 years, last year, it was 80% overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. 50% of our kids now are overweight, and 1/3 of them have type 2 diabetes, which 35 years ago, type 2 diabetes in children did not exist. So how is what we're doing working? I mean, I spent 23 years of my life as a nutritional researcher. You know, obviously driven by losing my own mom to obesity and seeing her do every diet out there. And I'd see her lose 20 pounds and gain 25 back, and lose 25 and gain 30 back. I believe she dieted herself to death. I really believe that. And I know most of you are going to go back to doing whatever you were doing. Mana, exactly, non-sustainable diets. You're very, very smart. So I'd love for anybody to comment. Am I going slow enough now? I'm a total open book. I'll answer whatever questions you want to answer. Some of them are hard to answer because you almost have to experience it. I know that sounds strange. See, you're used to everything you think about eating is chewing. That's not necessarily true. Think about a baby. When a mother is nursing a baby, do we think, well, the mom's starving the baby to death? Why is mother's breast milk so effective? Because it's the most effective way to get those nutrients into the body of the baby as the baby's growing. That's what some of these ancient people do. They're not over there, you know, cooking up a barbecue and having, not that you can't do that, but there are nutrients that you can take in this that are what people are taking that live to be 100 years old. I mean, some of the ingredients which come, for example, from Tibet and the Himalayas are why the Sherpas can climb Mount Everest pretty much without oxygen. They massively lower stress and massively lower inflammation. It's not something I'm making up. You can go and look at it. If you go to the website, let me go back to this. Does everybody, oh, by the way, that's the cover of Women's World. The gal on the left is the daughter, on the right is the mom. The daughter, who's 57 years old, excuse me, lost 51 pounds in about 3 months. Her mom lost 90 pounds in about 8 or 9 months. They've kept it off now for 2.5 years. But the reason I'm pointing it out to you is pretty credible. That's the #1 women's magazine in the world. You don't get on there if it's some scam. But look you can see right above their heads, the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website to go to. No one's going to contact you if you go there. If you go there, and it says right about free coaching. So anybody insinuating that I'm going to charge, we don't sell anything. We have no products to sell. You're going to get, if you decide to do it, you get they'll show you the grocery. Why would we hold back? There's no benefit to us to not show you what's involved. I understand people have these really strong opinions because they want to hold on to what they've been doing or what they think. They want to be right. But what if, I'm going to address everyone, what if everything you ever thought you knew about diet, nutrition, exercise was 100% wrong? Because it is, not because I say so. When we're talking about, let's talk about like the whole calorie counting thing medically. Not my opinion. Let me read to you why counting calories can't possibly work. The biggest failing of the calories in, calories out approach is it ignores that the body adjusts its control system when calorie intake is reduced. Got that, everybody? So, while the calories in, calories out formula can support people achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures the lost weight will be regained and more. So you're going on a diet 2/3 if you're going to weigh more than when you started. Now that may make you mad. You may think I'm full of it. Maybe it's BS. It's not. Today, okay, at least in the United States, go to the malls today. Go to Walmart, Kmart, whatever. Look at America. Do you think diets are working, anybody? Does anybody think diets are working? It's fool's gold. It's like you're chasing windmills. And yet now you have medical proof. You have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. What happened? Everybody, sorry. Sorry, technical difficulties here. Hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, sorry. Okay, anyway, we're back. So listen, I'll go as slow as I possibly can. That right there, Women's World said I think they're 70 years old, never have they ever had a story like this. It's on the newsstand today. You can actually go get it, or if you get it online, go read their story. That's what they did, was this protocol called R2M, Race to Maintenance. It's based on intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, and something called protein pacing. But one of the reasons I'm showing that to you is you want to see the medical proof. That website, the New Health Conversation, totally free, We're not going to contact you. Go there. I'll also put it in the chat at the bottom so everybody can see it. But let me know, anybody, if you can read in the chat. It's the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. We won't contact you. I just signed up for the website as a nurse. I'm excited to learn and act. Thank you. RD Runner, I can't tell you. By the way, RD, the gal on the left is a nurse. So it's one of your colleagues. Got it? But RD, let me ask you a question, okay? So I know that I get really excited, etc. Because look, I've been doing this for 23 years. We've helped over 500,000 people. But stories like that are pretty common. That's not that unusual, okay? You saw, for example, that Kristen even did better than they did. She lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in 1 month. Back to the poster, Cindy on the left, the daughter, 51 pounds in about 3 months. But the mom, at 80 years old, RD, you're a nurse. Tell me this. She lost 91 pounds in about 8 months, and they both kept it off for 2.5 years. How exciting is that as a possibility? How many patients do you have? I know the answer. But are we in a crisis when we're having to make bigger wheelchairs now in the hospitals and bigger beds because people have gotten so big? It's not their fault. I understand now why my mom could never lose weight, because she was doing the wrong thing. All of you, it's the exact same thing. Mystic Marina. But you understand this has nothing to do with fasting. Mystic Marina, do you get that? Did you hear me explain it? Yeah, but here's the difference, RD Runner. We're talking to a nurse now, everybody. In the medical studies, RD, they measured water. They lost no water weight. And imagine, in a month, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. As you know, the downfall of all diets, when you talk to the doctors, why they don't want you to lose more than a pound a week, because we know based on the studies, 25 to 40% of what people are losing on any diet is lean muscle mass. And that slows down not just your metabolism, that's why they gain back the weight, but it also slows down your immune system. Now, maybe you know this and maybe you don't. I wrote probably one of my most widely read books is this one right here called Your Third Brain. It's not a trick title. I wrote it, I know you can't see him, but the doctor in the white coat is considered probably one of the top oncologists in the world and a molecular biologist, and has worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. And sadly, my younger brother in 2011, on water today is not the, yeah, exactly, RD, but let me finish the story. So my younger brother in 2011 was diagnosed with kidney cancer. My brother was 6'4", and in 8 months from the time he was diagnosed until he passed away, this was in 2011, when my brother passed away, he weighed 115 pounds, he was 6'4", he was skin and bones. And what my colleague taught me, the last thing you ever want a cancer patient to do, if you can prevent it, is to lose weight. Why? Because the majority of what they're losing is lean muscle mass. And all of you, when you lose lean muscle mass, it slows down your metabolism. To a lesser degree, when you're going on a diet by counting calories, we know it's not up for debate. RD, 25 to 40% of what they're losing on a typical diet where they're counting calories is lean muscle mass. So imagine in this case, even though, for example, look at Kristen, 5 pounds a week. Hold on. Even though 5 pounds a week, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. This is not something it's in the medical. If you go to the website, RD, you'll see the medical studies are there. You can click on them and go to the studies. We have nothing to hide. I mean, people see they're trying to, we're the odd man out, I guess, because again, we're shaking up the whole tree because we've been so inundated with, I agree. On a diet, no way you should lose more than 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's the most unhealthy because you're losing lean muscle mass. Now, when you exercise, let me show you what happens, everyone, when you exercise. And this is exactly 11 days. Let me show you. Okay, look at day 1. Pretty good shape. But when it says day 5, that's 4 days. That's the morning of day 5. Okay, look at that. And then look at day 12, the morning of day 12, 11 days. Look at that change. Now, that's with exercise. Now, I want to say the other thing. The researchers weren't against exercise. Just in these studies, they had to isolate exercise. Otherwise, you would have said, they would have thought, well, it's diet and exercise. That's why they lost money. I lost weight, sorry. Look at that, everyone. What do you think? Sam, I promise I'll tell you in 1 second. Okay, so RD Runner, I'm just talking to a nurse right now, Sam. I'm going to explain to you exactly what they did, how they did it. But look at this one, Sam. How about 60 pounds in 3 months? What do you think about that, Sam? 60 pounds in 3 months. So, RD, am I making sense? You got that part? Okay, so Sam, now I'm going to explain to you what they did. Let me go back to a shorter version here. So in that case, she lost 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days. Let me give you the short version. This was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world after 40 years, over 100 studies, thousands of people. And Sam, the conclusion they came to was diets are a miserable failure. 2/3 of people on all the diets they studied in over 40 years gained more weight than they lost. And the reason for that was really pretty simple. All the diets out there that I know of, that you know of, are based on some form of counting calories. And the problem with that is the human body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'm still waiting all this time for someone to put the definition of a calorie in the chat, right? I'm going to put at the bottom for all of you again the website. It's in the chat, the new health let me spell it right, conversation. It's a free website where you can go and see the medical proof, okay? Now, so only the truth. What is RD Runner? She's a nurse. RD Runner is a nurse, okay? Let's see. It's a measurement of heat. Keep going, clever fox. You're getting closer. It's not really a measurement of heat. You're close, so keep going. I'll wait. But let me explain to everybody else, how did she do this? So the researchers figured out that calorie counting was the dumbest thing that anybody did, because the human body has no idea what a calorie is. What the body cares about, the only thing it cares about, is nutrition. We all have a minimum amount of nutrition that we need in order to run the brain, the heart, the kidney, the lungs, all our organs. That's real simple. They run on fuel. The fuel they run on is not calories, it's nutrition. So the researchers said, can we put together new food groups? There's no products here. These are foods that we're going to talk about. 30% of what she consumed, she got a grocery list from the researchers who created this. She got a list of proteins, carbs, fats, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie counts, they give her serving sizes. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? But that was picked out by the researchers. Only 30% of what she consumed in a month. She got a grocery list with the amounts of each food group that she was going to consume. Okay? Then the other 70% of the food she consumed and everybody else did not come from North America, did not come from the United States. It came from other researchers, because these researchers, they don't have a company. They don't have any products. We don't sell you anything. You buy directly from these suppliers who've gone to places like Russia, Mongolia, to Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to get foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but not huge amounts of quantity. Okay, so now they had the ingredients. 30% from your grocery store, you get a grocery list. The other 70% you'd buy directly from these suppliers from around the world. Then they created 2 new ways of consuming the food. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic food nutrients from around the world, lunch from the grocery store, which you'd consider normal food, dinner from the grocery store, again, which you'd consider normal food, and a 4th meal after dinner, these nutrients from around the world. So 5 days a week, she was having 4 meals a day. Got it so far? Then 2 days a week, she did something. I want to be very careful when I say this. Intermittent nutritional fasting. Complete new concept. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store at all, just these nutrient foods, or the nutrients from these foods. But this time, they let her eat 8 times a day. So 2 days a week, she was having 8 servings of these nutrient-dense these nutrients 8 times a day. She wasn't. Look, they proved in a month people's hunger went down 41%. Cravings in about 2 weeks completely went away. When they measured at the end of a month, they lost no water weight, and they actually gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Now, for all of you, you're getting a lot closer, Flower. Keep going. Give me a little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah, wow, the truth. See, that's it. Is that amazing, Sam? Is that amazing? And so again, I'm loving it, because Flower Girl is so close to the definition. But let me put, right, Sam, let me know that I've been craving raw foods, vegetables, fruits, but no matter what I eat, I'm never satisfied. RD Runner, because the food you're eating in North America is almost nutritionally bankrupt. Does that make sense to you? This is the thing you all have to understand. I'll give you one example of one of the most things that we're the most nutrient deficient in. Trace ionic minerals. Now, I'm not talking about iron, calcium, magnesium. I'm talking to things, trace minerals, and things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum, etc. Okay? And the best organic you're buying right now, RD, you're getting 20 out of 70. The research, these other food sources, they found a source with all 70 of the trace minerals. Again, the deficiency in the nutrition is what's driving your hunger. No matter how much you eat, you got to understand it wouldn't matter how much organic food. If you're only getting 20, you keep getting the 20 minerals over and over again. Your body's saying, what about the other 50? What about the other 50? Does this make sense to everybody? Your cravings are based on lack of nutrition, nothing else, not calories. Yeah, we have a bunch of people in New Zealand and Australia. So for you, what is it around, what's that, 8 o'clock in the morning? Tomorrow, it's Sunday over there. It's so great to hear this validated. I've said we're overfed and undernourished for years. Sam, you stole my line. Sam, what are you doing? I'm kidding. The researchers have said we're the most overfed and undernourished society in the world. And see, people want to come on here, Sam, and fight me. Why? I'm a nice person. All I'm doing is showing you the medical proof. Now, you may not like it because it blows up all the norms that people have surrounding this, which is all nonsense. Who can argue, Sam? We have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Who's going to argue that diets work in the long run? Because they don't. But we keep doing it. Go to Barnes & Noble today if you're out and about. Look at how many there's racks of diets. None of them work, everybody. None. Long term. Again, back to, even Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. That's Harvard telling you. Here's the quote. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what these researchers did. Come on, Flower Girl, I want the rest of I don't want you to buy my book. I'm being serious. Only the Truth, Monday, 106. Wow. Oh, that's right. It is the middle of the night. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was 7 p.m. our time. Yeah. Okay. You're up awfully late. I hope you enjoy this. Good, RD. Energy value of food. No, still. Come on, Flower Girl. I want you to get it. I can give you the answer, but you're very close. To let you know, Flower Girl, in a year, I've had 2 people ever get it right. And I'll be honest, 23 years ago, I had no idea what a calorie was either. So keep going, keep digging. You're really close. This is exciting. So my books, again, you can Google me if you want, RD Runner, but on the website, we made it on purpose. There's nothing to buy. RD, can you read, can you see this website here at the bottom? Let me know that everybody can read it in the comments. Here's the free website, everybody. It's right there, the New Health Conversation. So Only the Truth. I'm a night owl, laugh out loud. Okay. But Only the Truth. Are you enjoying this content? Wow, I didn't even look. We got 3,600 likes already. Let's get some more taps on that screen. So before you go to sleep, Only the Truth, I want to make sure I answer whatever questions you deserve it. At least as far as I know, you're the latest person at night that's watching this podcast. Yes, good. So what, Only the Truth, what can I answer for you? Yes, this content is gold. Yeah, thank you, RD. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Because I have a lot of critics. RD, you saw people come on and criticize me, charges you for the grocery list. It's just not accurate. It's not true. RD and Only the Truth, you understand, on the website. And by the way, can Only the Truth and RD, can you read that? Only the Truth right above your name, the New Health Conversation. Give me a yes if you can. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. But I want to make sure Only the Truth or Sam, can you read the website? Tap the screen, everybody. Let's get the information pushed out. Thank you so much, RD Runner. Now I got people supporting me on tapping because I can only talk so fast and so much. I cannot. Okay, so let's go over here, everybody. So that is, Only the Truth, that's the top women's magazine in the world, the #1 circulation. This came out today. They're on the cover. I coach these 2 ladies. The one on the left is a nurse, RD, 57 years old. She lost 51 pounds in less than 3 months. Her mom, 80, on the right, lost 91 or 92 pounds in about 8 months. That's 2.5 years ago. They've kept the weight off for more than 2.5 years. You don't get on the cover of that prestigious women's magazine if it's not real. This is a huge honor, a huge validation. Not that we really needed it, because again, the research has published 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. RD, as a nurse, please put in the comment, please put in how important is a peer-reviewed human trial study. This is a nurse who doesn't know me, everybody, so I'm not enticing her to answer this. But number one, RD, is it true? A peer-reviewed human trial study, there's nothing higher in medical investigation. And are you aware of any diet you've ever seen with a peer-reviewed human trial study? I'd love for you to just answer that for everybody out there. Gosh, she looks good for 80. I know, isn't that amazing? Sam, also, thanks for being so interactive, because listen, everyone, this is live. This is not recorded, okay? I couldn't be interacting with people if it was that way. And Sam, you see the website, that's what I'm saying in blue, the New Health Conversation, and you understand, Sam or RD, once you go there, scroll down, you get a free coach the whole time. Because the key to this for everybody, including the truth, is maintenance. Like I said, they lost that weight 2.5 years ago. They've kept it off for 2.5 years. I lost 40 pounds, which would be, in New Zealand, that'd be 20 kilos in 7 weeks. I've kept it off for 23 years. But I want to make sure. Oh, you're so close, Flower. You're really close. Keep going. You're almost there. This is great. Oh, my God. So Sam, can everybody see the website in blue there, the New Health Conversation? By the way, if I put my cursor there in yellow, can any of you see the cursor or not? I mean, I can see it on my computer, but maybe you can't see it online. I'm not sure. RD, everything out there is lacking in common sense. Only the truth. Wow. But only the truth. Can you see the website, the New Health Conversation? And we got people in New Zealand right now. We have people in Melbourne. We have people in Sydney. I mean, not a problem. We'll do WhatsApp or we'll Zoom with you. And you do get free coaching. We don't want anybody doing this without a coach. I'm proud. I coach these two ladies, these women. I coach these two women. They're friends of mine. You think they're excited? Well, about being on the cover. Do you know that magazine, normally the only people on the cover are major celebrities, major like movie stars, etc. And to get this protocol on there, backed now, but they're endorsing it by writing the story. I mean, it's fantastic. You can actually get that online also. You go to right there, Women's World, and you can actually see the article if you want. Yeah. Everything else, right. So only the truth, you can see it. That's what you're telling me. So write that website down. That's where you can go and see everything for free. So again, RD Runner, who's a nurse, please validate for everybody. Am I correct that peer-reviewed human trial studies, there's nothing higher in medicine, like no pill, no drug if it's approved, without a peer-reviewed human trial study? And RD, are you, as a nurse, familiar, do you know any diet out there that have peer-reviewed human trial studies? Wow, we're at 4,800 likes. Let's keep going, everybody. Almost 5,000. Come on, let's keep going. So who's excited about this? Only the truth. Are you excited about the possibilities of what it could do for you? RD Runner. No, she's saying no, she's not aware of any peer-reviewed human trial studies for any diet. And what I would say is this, RD, see if you agree with me. Why are people entrusting their health to people giving you opinions? Because that's what they're doing. The thing, and I want to be truthful, good, only the truth. Listen, everybody, for 22, look, I've spent 23 years of my life as a nutritional researcher. I wrote 4 best-selling books. This was my first one, which is a huge bestseller in 2010 called Why Diets Are Failing Us. I don't want you to buy my books, okay? Because there's more information now on the New Health Conversation. This book is 15 years old. Well, all the new stuff, I mean, I don't want to, I've already written 3 revisions of this book. I'm tired of writing the revisions, so we put the website up there for everybody for free. You don't have to buy anything. There's nothing to buy. My books aren't for sale there. People still go and buy them. I'm not promoting that. That's the most current research. But don't you all want to know, wait a minute. RN, RD, look at that guy, RD. Look at 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. Look at his blood level, everybody. A1C 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. Only the truth. What do you think about that? Look at his stomach. No exercise, no sit-ups, no crunches, nothing. Hello? Yeah, exactly, Sam. I'm so excited about gaining lean muscle. Well, look at him. But let me, in case Sam, I don't know if you saw this, let me show you all of you what happens if you exercise. Look at this, Sam. Day 1, really good shape. When it says day 5, that's 4 days. That's the morning of day 5. That's not even 5 days. And then look at day 12, 11 days. Look at that, Sam. How about that amazing? What do you think about that, everybody? Now, you can think, oh, it's Photoshop. Well, in this case, no. I happen to know this person, everybody. See that picture? That's my son, my youngest son. How about that? I mean, hello. It's not a diet, everybody. It's a detox. And they have the medical proof. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this was helping the body get rid of herbicides and pesticides and chemicals that were stored in our fat cells. That's why when you look at any of these pictures, like when you look at Julie, look at her whole body shrank, everybody. Look at that. You think that's Photoshop? You think it's a different woman? No, it's the same woman. No, it's not it's a cellular detox of the entire body. So that's a great question, only the truth. Let me explain it to you. So what's happening to us, including you, even in New Zealand, we're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals that are circulating now around the planet. As they enter our body, the body takes that chemical and, yes, first presents it to the liver, okay? Being the biggest filter in the body. But the problem with that is our livers now are so overwhelmed, they estimate 35% of people have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Your liver should have no fat in it at all. Why does it have fat? Because it's the body's way of protecting us by encapsulating or enrobing the toxin in a fat cell. Once the liver can't handle anymore, it takes the chemical and stuffs it inside our visceral fat. That's the fat around her midsection there, etc. Well, in the studies, they proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis that this was assisting our body in removing those chemicals, and the fat cells shrank, as you can see it right there. Or if you look at someone, even in terms of, if you look at Christian, look at her stomach. And she only had 35 pounds to lose, but look at her stomach. Day 1 and 30 days later, look at that difference. That's the detox. That had nothing to do with the weight loss because they measured, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle, but the fat shrank as the body removed the chemicals. So only the truth. Does that make sense? This is not a liver detox. Yeah, does it help the liver detox? Of course it does, because it takes the burden away from the liver, and then the liver can easily recover if you have a detox. So first and foremost, this is a detox. Sorry if I got off topic, but detox is the treatment of obesity these days. Yeah, well, but the difference here is we have 10 peer-reviewed human trials proving that it works, right? So, okay, who else? Only the truth. Yes, gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Great, Sam. How about some of the rest? Wow, we're almost at 5,000 likes. Can we get some more taps for everybody? So again, who else would like to ask me a question? No, it's not a blood detox. No, it's a cellular. So let me explain it to you, only the truth. So what the body is capable of, last night when we all slept, and I'm sure that RD, the nurse, will back me up on this. When we all, now again, truth, you haven't gone to sleep yet. So when you do go to sleep, what's going to happen is once you fall asleep, your body will slow down your digestion to the point when it slows down enough, the body will turn on a natural detoxification method we all have in us, happens every night. It's called autophagy. That's when our body gets rid of the dead cells. Effectively, what these researchers did 2 days a week with the intermittent nutritional fast, not a fast, not water fasting, not time restricted eating, they turned on autophagy. Well, they proved it because they did the blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving that this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals inside our fat cells. So it's not a blood detox, it's a cellular detox because we're storing the chemicals in our fat cells. Evidence, look at her stomach. You look at any of these, even if you look at Curtis, look at how much his stomach went down in 30 days. That's the reduction in the chemicals in the body in those fat cells. No diet has ever done anything like this. Am I making sense, RD and the truth and Sam and everybody we're talking about here? But part of the reason we give you all the option, look, right here, to go to that website right above their head, the New Health Conversation. It's a free website. Here's the thing. Our RD or any of it, we are not. Yeah, everybody tap on the screen. Tap, tap, tap. We're not going to contact you. Do you understand, everybody? We want to make you in control. We can't be, and no, we don't want to be having to convince you or sell you anything. Why should we have to do that if the medical proof, you can go and see it for free, then decide. If you want a free coach, scroll down, you get a free coach the whole time. Because the key to this is the coach to get your weight off you and then teach you how to keep it off. We have people that need to lose, 200 pounds. Well, those coaches are with them 5, 6, 7, however long it takes. I know it sounds good to be true, but someone did it for us. We were coached. I was coached. We don't have any products. We don't sell anything. You're buying either directly from your grocery store, 30% of the food that you would get a grocery list for the new people coming on, that was developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And then 70% of what you consume came from other suppliers, not the researchers who created this weight loss protocol, or us. And those foods come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition, but in very small quantities of food. See, it has nothing to do with how much food you eat. It only has to do with how much nutrition can you give your body, because your body doesn't care what a calorie is. It doesn't know what a calorie is. RD, you're pretty close. But keep in mind, RD, you're not going to do it even with organic food in this country. In my first book, shameless plug for me, I know, but I saw the research, 200 studies on organic in this country. It's slightly better than regular food, about maybe 15% nutritionally, but it's less polluted, and that's why you'd eat organic food. But you're not going to eat enough organic food in this country to ever equal what these other foods that are coming from areas in the world. No herbicides, no pesticides, no anything. Just huge amounts of nutrition. I mean, you're a nurse. Does this make perfect sense? Perfect sense? Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I hope we're really, yeah, Sam, that's amazing. I mean, do you all feel only the truth, or RD, or Sam? Are you learning things? But let me be clear, everyone. For all three of you I just said that to, I'm not the expert. I became an expert on the experts. I want to tell you right now, I'm called a lot of names, but the best one is I'm the researcher of the researchers. What's our job? Not to sell you, not to convince you, to make you aware. Does that sound like a pretty good program? And the thing that you know what we find, you know what our biggest liability is? I wouldn't say liability, but our shortcoming? We only have so many coaches. Fortunately, what's happening is a lot of people come on this and have such an incredible result that their sister, brother, co-worker, someone from church says, what the heck are you doing? And they end up wanting to be coaches, and we teach them how to coach people. But it's pretty, it's not that difficult, because if you do this, you get this. This is from the scientists. It's called the Blueprint for Success. They created this. All the yellows you're seeing there are actually daily videos explaining this is why it's safe, this is how it works, from the researchers who don't sell any products. Why would they do this? Because they wanted to ensure that you and the general public got to experience this protocol exactly the way that the people in the medical studies experienced it. You're doing exactly what they did in the medical studies. You're eating the same foods they ate. You're eating at the same sequence and the same timing. Everything is exactly identical to what they did in the medical trials. Your coach is there also. Well, you may have some questions, but they're also there as kind of your cheerleader and also your accountability. See, the accountability is important. But we have an expression, just give us 4 days. So imagine RD or Only the Truth or Sam. Just got to Chat GPT for the whole program. Just got to Chat. Oh, the amount of food energy needed to raise the temperature 1 gram. Wow, Flower Girl. Congratulations, everybody. She got the definition of a calorie. Thank you for hanging in there, Flower Girl. Wow, that's amazing. But again, everybody, you understand you can't count calories. Well, I mean, your body can't count. You can count calories. They count calories in a laboratory, but your body can't count calories. Flower Girl, that is so great. Yeah, it's sad, the lack of integrity, what we were talking about. So again, everybody, I mean, I don't know what more to say just than that. Aren't you all curious about how in the world did she do that? And when you think about it, it was food and a new way of consuming food that had never been done before. It almost sounds too simple, but that's real. She lost 5 pounds a week and 38 inches. Celebrating with a happy dance in my living room. But Flower Girl, doesn't that, Flower Girl, please comment if you will. Do you understand now when I talk about why are we counting calories? Please tell me, is that Flower Girl? Oh, I need to do this. Well, I hope you will do it. I mean, but again, I want all of you to know, including Flower Girl and everybody, again, let's go look at the website. So Flower Girl, do you see it? Only the Truth, do you see it? All of you, you see it in blue there, the new health conversation right above their heads. And then it's free coaching, like no kidding. If you go to that website, we're not going to contact you, Flower Girl. We're not contracting you. But you can scroll down and get a free coach if you choose, not us, because we're not here to convince you. But honestly, Flower Girl, yeah, she's saying yeah. You see, Flower Girl, what's so amazing? When even Harvard Medical, now you understand why Harvard Medical Schools has stopped counting calories. Why are you doing that? Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Now, doesn't that make you feel better? Just got to Chat GPT for the whole program. I'm not quite Camille. So do you need me to explain it to you? Do you want me to talk? Please, Camille, let me know what I can do to help you. Only the truth, yes. So can everybody see the website in blue, the new health conversation? It's right there. And it's free coaching. Don't put in the chat, how much is the consultation? How much is the coaching? It's free the whole time through it. You're not buying anything from us. We got coached. That's the main thing you need to understand. We got coached, and we have medical doctors. We have, well, like for example, Cindy on the left, she's an RN. She's a nurse. Well, she's helping coach patients because she wants to. Because her patients ask her, "What in the world have you done?" Her mom on the right, 80 years old, lost 91 pounds in about 8 months and has kept it off for 2.5 years. That's on the cover of the #1 women's magazine in the world, for crying out loud, in the whole darn world, women's world. So that's not an advertisement. That's they sought us out, not me, but them. I didn't type anything in the Chat GPT. Maybe somebody else did. I'm very sorry. The plan's right there. You can see it. Sorry, who was asking me? RD Runner, what did you type in? I didn't type anything in the Chat GTP. All you can see there, the new health conversation up there in blue, that's the website to go to fixing my nutrition. Yeah, it definitely helps with hormones. So, hey, it's Nancy. What program? Okay, so let me show you even more dramatic. I'm gonna explain it to you. This is real. She lost 5 pounds a week. I mean, I got look at this. This is the daughter of a friend of mine, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, arms, and body. I'm going to explain to you exactly what they did in a moment. It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. It was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, who for more than 40 years did 100 studies, thousands of people, and concluded that calorie counting was completely dead. What they did, they said the only thing our body cares about is not calories. It doesn't know what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. We just had a nice lady. She went and looked it up. Oh, sorry, we were replying to each other. Okay, I was asking Camille. Oh, I see. Okay, no problem. Let me finish for this other nice person that's asking me about this. So what they did, the researchers, they figured out the problem with any diet was it caused a nutritional deficiency in the body, which forced the brain to go in starvation mode and use our muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate. I don't care what diet you've ever been on. I don't care how much weight you lost. The medical proof is 25 to 40% of what you lost on any diet is lean muscle mass. Period. Okay? Period. So the researchers said, if we're going to make this work, is it possible to find new food groups that are based only on the amount of nutrition, not quantities? So they put together a grocery list for her, proteins, fat, well, for everybody, proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits that weren't based on calories. They were based on serving sizes, like how much of each, okay? But only 30% of what she was going to consume in a month as she did this. The other 70% came from these food groups from around the world, from other researchers, not the researchers who created this. There's no product here. This is food. But the researchers who created this, they don't sell anything. We don't sell anything. Because I said 30% of what you actually get a grocery list, you take it to the grocery store. The other 70% comes from these food groups from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts from a quantity. Remember, your body doesn't care about quantity. Do I have enough nutrition to run my brain, my heart, my kidney, my lungs, etc.? I know it sounds simple, but that's it. So now they had the ingredients, right? You said, what's the program? Well, 30% from your grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Then 5 days a week, she ate 4 times a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, regular foods you'd consider. Dinner, regular foods from the grocery store list. And a fourth meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. So 5 days a week, it's called protein pacing. She was eating 4 meals a day for 5 days. 2 days a week, every week, until she got to her goals. See, this whole program is called R2M, Race to Maintenance. That's the only reason to do this, is to get to maintenance. It's not a question, can we get the weight off you? That's not even a theory. So 5 days a week, she's having 4 meals. 2 days a week, no food at all from the grocery store, only these foods from around the world. But this time she ate 8 times a day. She was really eating every hour and a half. Now, if there's diabetics out there, this is amazing. Insulin in 30 days came down 41%. So you talk about people that are insulin resistant or diabetic, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical claims. What we're sharing with you is from the peer-reviewed, there's 10 of them, peer-reviewed medical studies in the biggest medical journals in the world. And we've got health professionals, we've got nurses and people in here backing me up, saying that there is no other diet they're aware of that's ever had peer-reviewed human trial studies on their own. There's 10 of them proving this works. How did she do what she did? And it's safe. Look at her stomach. Day 1 to day 30. Look at how much it shrank. And by the way, she was not allowed to exercise. No one was allowed to exercise in this. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. I know it sounds too good to be true, but you all, listen, you all get to go to this website. Whoops, where is it? The website right there in blue, the New Health Conversation. We're not going to contact you if you go there. I don't know why when I put it in the chat down here at the bottom, no one says they can't read it. Let me see if I can put it in here again. The New Health Conversation. Hold on just a second. I posted it. No, on Only the Truth. No rebounding. No, no, no. Like I said, Only the Truth. I lost 40 pounds, well, 20 kilos in 7 weeks. I've kept it off. That's 2.5 years ago. Those pictures are from 2.5 years ago. Well, I mean, the pictures are new, but their weight loss was 2.5 years ago. That picture was taken about a month ago, just to let you know. And the whole key, look, Only the Truth. I understand it's so hard to believe. But all we're asking you, inviting you, Only the Truth, just go to the website, look at the medical proof, and then get a free coach. Free the whole time, like no gimmicks. And even if you don't do it, you still get to talk to a coach for free. There's no hoops, there's no, oh, you got to pay. No, we don't do that. What foods from around the world? Just joined, maybe I missed something. Yeah, Kim Fahey, you missed a lot. Let me explain it to you. So, Kim, this was invented. Let me just show you some of the results. Did you see this picture, Kim? Let me know, give me a yes or a no, so I don't go backwards and repeat again. But in explaining it, I need to emphasize this, but I just want to know if you did that. So, what the program entailed, and it was invented by the top weight loss. Oh, so yes, you did hear me talk about it. Okay, so let's just talk about what did she did and what are the foods, etc. Okay, so 30% of what she consumed was a grocery list developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 40 years. They're recognized as the #1 authorities in the world. So they put together a food group that you would buy from your grocery store, only 30% proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, based on serving sizes, not calories. You get the list. You physically would have the list. You physically would take it to the grocery store. Now, the foods from around the world is a better way maybe to explain it. Let's talk about the nutrients from around the world, because a lot of what she consumed was not what I would call chewable. It was liquid. And they found these nutrients, the nutrients in foods in Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represented huge amounts of nutrition, not huge amounts of food that you would normally associate like with chewing. So it wasn't like more kale or more spinach or more beets or anything like that. And a lot of the nutrients that they found were either in huge amounts that aren't available. They're still available in this country, but at lesser and lesser amounts. But some of the nutrients, like from Mongolia and from Tibet in particular, don't exist in North America. So it's not a matter of can we get them in Kansas or Nebraska or Illinois. They just don't. It's a freak of nature. And some of those ingredients, which are made either you drink it in liquid or you can make it as a tea, and they teach you all that. So it's not food. The best way to explain it, it's not necessarily all chewables you're doing. It's nutrients. Now, these are not supplements. You're not taking supplements, okay? There's no products to buy here. All you're buying are these food groups. I don't know if that helps you, but I'll tell you what is in some of the foods. I'll give you a couple quick examples. One of the things we're the most deficient in our food in North America are what are called trace ionic minerals. There are 70 that we need, and in the best organic you can buy today, if you go out, you're going to get 20. The researchers found one of these food groups, or the nutrients, contained all 70 trace ionic minerals. So see, here's the problem why we're never full. So let's say you buy organic, you're getting 20, but you get the same 20 over and over and over again. What about the other 50? And trace minerals are things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum, just to give you an example. So imagine we're running on empty. We need 70, we got 20. So no matter how much we eat, we're still short the 50. The same thing, for example, like with vitamins, okay? We have lots of vitamin pills, but the sad part is about 95% of them are synthetic, made in a laboratory. Well, the researchers found food sources that contain 21 naturally occurring vitamins. Unheard of. So it's kind of hard. I'm not trying to be evasive. Trust me, I'm not. And the reason you get free coaching is those are the kind of questions that you can get more clarification. The other reason that we do free coaching, we don't know anything about you. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have, as a matter of fact, the lady on the right, she's 80, who lost 91 pounds in 8 months. Her sister's 91 years old, is on this, was on a walker 2 months ago. She's no longer on a walker. We have a guy with a heart transplant. We have people who know thyroids, people who know gallbladders, people with kidney transplants. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or make any medical proclamations. We'd always say, if you got health conditions, check with your health professional before embarking on any program. We're not here to trick people. But here's what we can do that nobody else can. No juicing, only the truth. My God, no. No juicing. No. But these peer-reviewed human trial studies are what back all this up to prove that it's safe. It's irrefutable medical proof, okay? So anyway, only the truth. Yes, free coaching, absolutely. Food is our medicine, absolutely, you got it. But you have to understand, listen, you should be excited, only the truth. One of the main food groups they have comes from New Zealand. Hello. That should make you happy right there. But also the other, and see, these nutrients work in combination together. They're not in isolation, okay? So again, who would like to ask me another question? Oh, we got 6,900 likes. Come on, we can get some more taps on the screen to get. And we say not even rebounding. Are you talking about jumping on a rebounder? That's one great thing you can do, but I'm not quite sure. I think when you're saying rebounding, that they're not gaining the weight back. I believe that's what you're saying, correct? That's exciting, yay. So what's the secret? Okay, Emma D. Only the truth, yes. So Emma D, let me explain it to you. Let's come back here. So first, Emma D, that's on the cover of Women's Day magazine. It hit the stands today. The lady on the left, the woman on the left is a nurse, 57 years old. She lost 51 pounds in about 3 months. Her mom on the right is 80. Her mom lost 91 pounds in about 8 months. They both have kept the weight off for 2.5 years on this protocol, okay? And if you're familiar with Women's World, it's the #1 women's magazine in the world. To be on the cover with this kind of a story it's going to change everything. It's going to change the world. But let's go a little bit deeper into it. I'll explain. When I explain to you, you'll understand how they did it, why they did it. So let's look at a real, this is exactly 30 days, okay? So Emma D, 30 days, 21 pounds, 38 inches. Emma D, if you don't mind, if you will, you don't have to, but to lose 20 pounds on any diet you want to go on, how long would you give yourself? Now, let me explain to you, if you want to put that in the chat, I'm going to explain to you what they did. First of all, there are no products involved. No products. So it's not a lotion, potion, pill, magic elixir, no, nothing like that. It's based on food. But here's what was so different about it. The researchers who invented it have spent 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, And they figured out over all that time, diets are miserable failures long term. 2/3 of the people on any diet they put people on gained more weight than they lost. I'll give you more medical support for that in just a moment. So the researchers said the problem with diets, the body has no idea what a calorie is, why we're counting calories, it's ridiculous. One of the nice ladies did research and found the definition of a calorie. I'll explain it to you in a moment. But your body doesn't count calories. It doesn't know what calories are. So why you're counting calories to lose weight is just ridiculous. We all did it, okay? So don't feel bad. So the researchers said we need to come up with a protocol. We need to find foods that have huge amounts of nutrition with less quantity of food. That was their theory. So they developed a grocery list, but only 30% of the food that she ate in a month came from organic in North America. Why? Because our food in this country, you should know this, is becoming more and more nutritionally bankrupt, right? So it's not how much you eat, it's how much nutrition you give your body. Second thing that the researchers did, who have no products to sell, they don't have a company, we don't sell you anything, okay? But researchers found other researchers who for more than 20 or 25 years had gone around the world to places like Mongolia and Russia and South America, New Zealand, and Tibet in the Himalayas, and brought back these nutrients that had huge amounts of nutrition and small quantities of what you would call food, right? So now they had the ingredients, 30% from the grocery store, and you'd get a grocery list. You'd literally take it to the grocery store and it would give you not just the foods like proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, fruits, but the serving sizes, not calories. They don't care about calories. They only care about nutrition, right? So now what happened is that they put together, they had the food, now they had to figure out how they were going to have people eat it. So 5 days a week, you would do this too. She had 4 meals a day, starting with these exotic foods for breakfast. No food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store, which you would call regular food, organic, of course. Dinner, organic from the grocery store list. And a 4th meal. So important, 4 meals a day. Not 2, not 1, not 3, 4. It's called protein pacing. So you're pacing the protein and the nutrition over the course of about 12 hours. This was completely new. They'd never tried this before because they never had foods with this huge amounts of nutrition in so little, in a less than amount of food. 2 days a week, she did something that'll spin you called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time they had her eating 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half. Look at the results. Look at her stomach on day 1. Look at her stomach on day 30, and that's without any exercise at all. They didn't allow anybody to exercise on this. No one was allowed to exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Not that they're against exercise. You can exercise if you want. But she's not the only one. I want to show you, let me show you. Look at this, Julie. That's 35 pounds in 37 days. Now, it almost looks like a different woman, right? It's not Photoshop. That's really what happened. Look at how much she shrank. How many of you women out there would love to have something like that happen? Now, if you exercise, it's going to be even better. Your coaches will go over. You get a free coach if you do this, free. No kidding. And you're not buying anything from us. You're buying 30% of the food from your grocery store and 70% from these exotic foods or nutrients from around the world. And then you get coached and they show you how to do it. It's called R2M, Race to Maintenance. The only reason to do it is to get on maintenance. It's not a question, can you lose the weight? That's not even a thing. Okay. Maybe 2 months to lose 20 pounds. Right, MD. So MD, do you understand? Please let me know that you understand. Yes, that's my problem. I lost 90 pounds in 2019 and gained more than I lost over the next 5 years. So MD, I don't want you to agree with me if you don't agree with me. It's fine. You can disagree. But let me show you something, MD. This is the daughter of a friend of mine. And you tell me what you think about this. I got to find her first, sorry. Oh, there she is, April. So MD, look at that. 60 pounds in 3 months. That photo's 8 years old. She's kept it off for 8 years. How much would that excite you, MD? Huh? Look, only the truth. I can't wait to do this. Maybe 2 months, MD. MD, please put it in the chat for me. What do you think about that? Assuming I'm not lying to you, assuming it's not Photoshop. It's the daughter of a friend of mine. Really? Would I really do that? I guess people would think anything, but we didn't touch the photo. Yeah, I know, MD. So, MD, let me explain something to you. The reason we offer you free coaching is because people are as different as snowflakes, right? Like the fact that you lost the weight and gained it, that's something that the coach would want to know. Because, we have diabetics, we have people with high blood pressure. My God, MD, we have people with no thyroids, women with no thyroids that had thyroid cancer. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with no gallbladders, people with kidney transplants, a whole challenge. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical proclamations at all. But the consultation, not only MD, not only is the consultation free with the coach, but the coach will coach you the whole time to get you to that goal and show you how to stay there. That's 8 years ago. She's kept the weight off. And MD, I don't know if you saw the poster child, the mom and daughter. You can go get Women's World today. It's the cover story, huge story on the #1 women's magazine in the world. That's good enough for me. But we have the medical proof. My gosh, we have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies proving it's safe and sustainable. I understand your biggest challenge for everybody. You have to be skeptical. You can't tell me you're not skeptical. I feel like we're friends. I know you're skeptical. It's okay. But you got to understand what destroys the skepticism are the peer-reviewed human trial studies, which if you go to the New Health Conversation, you see it in blue right above their heads. You get to see all the medical proof. But better, there's an interview. I forgot to tell everybody this. On the website, the New Health Conversation you're seeing there's an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team created this. He'll tell you in the interview they'll never recommend any traditional diet again after 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people, every diet out there. He said it would be unethical. He told me, Peter, why would we have an MD go on a program that would take her 8 weeks to lose the kind of weight she could lose in a week, and at the end of 8 weeks, up to 25 to 40% of what she lost was lean muscle. That's why you gained all the weight back, MD. You lost up to 40% of your lean muscle, whether you know it or not, and it slowed down your metabolism. That's why you gained everything back. This is revolutionary. Do you get it, everybody? This is making every diet obsolete. Now, MD, I don't want you to believe me. Let me just read one quick study. I've got about 20 of them over, but this one from Medicare, MD. Listen, Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The Medicare researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calories in, calories out, restricting diets to assess whether these diets were an effective treatment for obesity. The researchers found that 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on their diets. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets led to lasting weight loss or health benefits. MD, you proved it. What happened to you is what they're talking about in Medicare. 2/3 of people end up gaining more weight than they lost on all these silly diets. And yet, what are we doing? More diets, more names, more tricks. We got shots now. We're in a collapse. I mean, Johns Hopkins Medical School study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. Does that sound like something that's working? Does it? Oh, okay. I'm a science believer. I believe in medical proof. I'm over the fad diets and bouncing back afterwards. Is this similar to? No, it has nothing to do with only the truth. Nothing. It's not a diet. That's what I'm saying. Please, 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 only the truth. Go to the website when you wake up tomorrow. Watch the interview. Only the truth. Not me. He's the #1 person in the world for 40 years. Wait till you hear what he has to say. Let him explain it to you. My mom, to all her life, she died at 50. Wow, my God, MD. No, no, no. Wow, could we ever help? But MD, look at the mom. Look at the mom. MD, 91 pounds in 8 months and has kept it off for 2.5 years. She's 80 years old. That picture's like 3 weeks old. Look at both of them. The nurse on the left lost 51 or 52 pounds in like 3 months. But they've kept it off. That's the whole key. MD, I don't think you could go to that website fast enough. And if you go there, MD or anybody, we're not going to contact you. So don't think, MD, you go there and you're waiting for a phone call from us. We don't do that. We don't have time to do that. We're coaching so many people. But imagine if you went on this, do you understand you could probably help your two sisters? We'd need your help, though, to help us coach them. We only have so many coaches. I mean, I understand for all of you, this seems like science fiction. This is not real. It's unsafe. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Really? Well, somehow I did 20 shows on PBS and wrote 4 best-selling books to some of the top medical doctors in the world. I work with the geneticists who discovered the gene that causes aging. One of my colleagues is a top oncologist in the world who I wrote a book with, who's also a molecular biologist, who also worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. None of it's my research. Please understand, I'm the researcher of the researchers. We're bringing this to you for free. We're saying, look, here it is. Here it is. Do you understand? You're buying food. You have to eat anyway. But you can't buy food like this at your local grocery store. Some of it, 30%, but the other 70% from these exotic food nutrients from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, in the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. Yeah, only the truth. So please go there. Also, MD, I really encourage you to go to the New Health Conversation, get a free coach. But MD, I'm really excited. And MD, just let me know, do you understand the significance of peer-reviewed human trial studies? Not scientific papers, not clinical studies. It's got to be done on human beings. There's no higher scrutiny than a peer-reviewed human trial study. So I'm just curious, MD, if you knew that. Maybe you do. It sounds like you're very knowledgeable. It sounds like I'm a science believer, but a lot of people don't appreciate a peer-reviewed human trial study. And how come, MD, all these other influences, I'm sure all of you are following other people on social media, how come they're not showing you one shred of medical evidence? You know why? Because they don't have any. I didn't have any for 22 years, so I was in their position. But about 14 months ago, these medical trials started to come out. We've got medical doctors and PAs and scientists and researchers. They're coming out of the woodwork wanting to do this because it's been medically proven. For all of you, that's the differentiator. It's not just that, okay, the 2 of them lost 140 pounds 2.5 years ago and they've kept it off. The key is it was safe. Again, the researchers go over that. They show you, you order directly from those suppliers. Your coaches will show you how to do that, okay? They'll go over all that with you for free because you're not buying anything from them, but they'll give you the grocery list you're going to take to your grocery store, even in New Zealand, and then the other foods, they'll show you how to order those directly from the suppliers, okay? That's all free. All the coaching, all the instruction, all the questions, they'll answer for you, okay? So MD, again, do you want to comment on, do you understand the significance of peer-reviewed human trial studies? Because most people don't. And I want people to understand how important this is. AJ, you're wonderful. Sent me a rose. AJ, how are you doing? You must be on, what, day 8 or 9 or 10 by now, I'm thinking. Am I correct? Okay, so RD Run. It's not exotic foods, RD. It's the elements, okay? Things like, I thought I explained that to you before. Trace ionic minerals. Those are things like gold, silver, zinc, beryllium, boron, selenium, molybdenum. In the best organic you can buy in this country, you get 20. In one of the food sources or the nutrients they found had all 70 trace ionic minerals. Another thing that you need are real vitamins, not in a pill form, synthetic, made in a laboratory. There are 21, one of the food groups had 21 naturally occurring vitamins, meaning they occurred naturally in nature. What else can I tell you? There's an electrolyte, if you know what an electrolyte is. I'm not talking about Gatorade or whatever. They found an electrolyte with no sugar, no artificial sweeteners. Very important to keep your electrolytes up. What else do they have? Well, this is something that'll spin everybody, okay? One of the biggest myths out there is about consuming protein or the amount of protein to lose weight. Here's what the fallacy of that is. Protein itself, this will shock you, from a plant protein or an animal protein, the protein itself is like a walnut shell. Does everybody get that? So when you eat a walnut, you break open the shell and you get the nut. When you ingest protein from a plant or an animal, the body does the same thing. There's a technical name for it. It's called body protein synthesis. It's a fancy name for the body breaks open the protein and extracts. The only reason to eat protein is not for the protein itself, but what's inside the protein, the nut in a sense, are the 20 amino acids. 9 are what are called essential. You have to get them from your diet. The other 11 are non-essential. So you think, okay, well, I'm eating protein from plants or animals and getting all 20 amino acids. That means nothing. In Europe, about 9 years ago, they developed a test through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. When you ingest protein, they could measure what percentage of the 20 amino acids in any protein was being used by our genes to make human protein. So RD, let me explain something to you. We have 22,000 genes in our body. I'll let you guess if you want to. Put it in the chat real quick because I'm going to give you the answer. How many different human proteins do you think we make? Anybody want to answer? We have 22,000 genes. We make 22,000 human proteins. Now, how do we do that? We don't do it with fats. We don't do it with carbohydrates, and we don't do it with protein itself. We only do it with the amino acids contained within the protein. So the key becomes what percentage, 0 to 100 of those aminos are being used by our genes to remake us. It's okay if you don't want to answer, it's fine. We make, you ready for this, everybody? Every day we make 22,000 different human proteins. That only happens with amino acids. So let's look at the analysis done through blood, stool, urine, and fat. Plant-based proteins, and if you're vegan, I don't mean to make you mad, this is the science. You're only getting an absorption of the 20 amino acids from a plant-based protein of 15% out of 100. What about the other 85%? The other 85% is toxic waste your kidneys have to get rid of. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish, swordfish, trout, I don't care what it is, 30%. So again, to your question, RD, they found a source, and this is why people gain lean muscle and didn't lose it. They found a source where the absorption of the amino acids was 91%. So you could literally have a third as much protein and get the same benefit, which was where they started out, right? Remember what I said? They wanted to find out if they could give you less food but more nutrition. That's just one example. There are more, but again, that's why, again, get together with one of the coaches and they'll answer any and all of those questions for you. Because some people, this kind of an explanation, it may be, you know, they think it's too complicated or too sciencey. So again, does that help you? Does that give you an idea of some of those exotic foods that are contained that you can't get in North America, or at least some of the nutrients aren't even available, or the quantities? Like I just said, even with grass-fed beef, you're getting 30% of the amino acids, not 91%. And why did they build lean muscle? So let's go back to Christian for a moment. How in the world did he do that? Well, one of the essential amino acids, one of the 9, there are 9 that are essential, right? Called leucine. You can look it up. Leucine is responsible in great part for building muscle in the body. So imagine she was consuming a protein source and getting 91% of all the amino acids, including leucine. Isn't that fantastic? Just amazing. Okay. Yeah, only the truth. Yeah, it's got to be like 2:30 in the morning your time. Yeah, only the truth, everybody. She's calling from New Zealand. So get some sleep. Go to the website, and we'll help you tomorrow. Okay? Thanks for being on Only the Truth. So RD, does that help you? Do you understand? But RD, you know, it's like you didn't learn medical school. I mean, to become a nurse, you didn't learn it in 2 minutes either. So part of this is the education you're going to get, with all due respect, as you go through this, the blueprint, like each one of these yellows, is with the researchers explaining after their 40 years of research why this is different, why it's unique, how it works, why these nutrients are so important. Because remember, they're not just the top weight loss and nutrition experts in the world, they're the top physiologists in the world. And you probably know that as a nurse, that a physiologist, they analyze the nutrients once they enter our body. So they're looking on the outside, these nutrients, that's one thing, we're going to put them in your body, but then what happens? Well, that's why they did the blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. And like when you look at Curtis here, which I showed you before, not only does he lose 40 pounds in a month and 52 inches, but look at his lab work. It went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides from 242 to 124. That's in 30 days, 30 days. Yeah, okay, 2 a.m. Yes, just excited. Okay. All right, well, listen, everybody, we're at 9,600. Can we get some more taps to get me to 10,000? And then I will come back on today probably around 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's 11:30 Central, 10:30 Mountain, and 9:30 Pacific. and we'll do another one of these. But functional medicine is the healthcare of the future, looking at this basic nutrients. You got it, RD. You got it, RD. Also, can you imagine how many people you could help, RD, with this if it does for you what it did for all these other people? RD runner in our diets, yeah. So, but when you look at, I just look at my friend's daughter. How different do you think her life is now? That picture's 8 years old. She lost that weight 8 years ago and she's kept it off. 60 pounds in 3 months. I know you think it's science fiction. It's not. That's absolutely real. But it's not based on counting calories. It's not. Come on, can we get some more taps, please? Some more taps. We're at 9,600. Let's get to 10,000. That'll make my day. As Clint Eastwood said in that famous movie, make my day. Well, you can make my day by giving me some more taps. Please, everybody, let's get some taps on that screen. Any of you that are still here or just coming on or whatever, I'd love to get to 10,000. If I don't, it's okay. I'm still very grateful that I got 9,600 likes, but I don't know, 10,000 is just isn't covered. I know, yeah. But what's so amazing about this, RD, think about it. This is simply new food that people are eating. And like I said, food is our medicine. So, and I didn't even talk about that as far as the cost. So I would say this, average, right? So figure 30% of what you're going to spend out of what you normally spend in a month. That's part of it. And this is probably about $100 a week. But again, it's going to, in a month's time, it's replacing 70%. Out of 90 meals, it replaces about 65 meals. So you have to eat anyway. So it's not that much, it's maybe a little bit more than what you're spending totally on food right now. And but listen to this, RD, in addition, the people who supply the 70% of the foods that you would buy if you do it, they give you 100% money back guarantee in the first 30 days. Now, people, don't get confused. I didn't say it was free. The coaching is free. The coaching is free. The coaching is free. The coaching is free. You're buying 30%. You're giving the grocery store money, 30% of what you'd spend, that you spent last month on food, and 70% of your money is going to these foods from around the world. And that's it. It's very affordable because you have to eat anyway. But how are you going to produce that kind of a result? Any of you. Let's go one last time for everybody. This came out on the cover of Women's World magazine. These mom and the mom on the right and the daughter on the left. The daughter lost 51 pounds in about 3 months. The mom lost 91 pounds in about 8 months, and they've kept it off now for 2.5 years. I mean, but look above their head in the blue, the new health conversation, the new health conversation. It's a free medical website where you can go and see all the medical proof. It's all right there for you to see. And then if you like what you see, we will not contact you. We don't do that. Then you can scroll down and get a free coach for the whole time, but most importantly, teaching you how did they keep the weight off for 2.5 years. That's called maintenance. Maintenance is the only reason to do that. Well, there's a lot of other reasons, but maintenance is certainly a big priority. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. All right, so I'm going to sign off now. It's been a little over 2 hours, and I'm very grateful for all of you to be on here. I hope I've shared some valuable information. I hope you'll invite others to come. The New Health Conversation, it's free to go there. You can share that web link with anybody you want, anybody around the world. They don't have to come on the podcast to see that, okay? RD, good day, sir. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. So we're at 9,900. I got to wait just a little bit more. Come on, anybody left? Let's get as many taps as we can to get me to 10,000. That's wonderful. Thank you all so much for believing in this research and these studies and all the hard work that's gone on over this. I'm at 10,000. Peace. I'm out. Wonderful, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And like I said, I'll probably come back on again around noon, 12 or 12:30 Eastern time today, okay? Bye, everybody.